Okay, we're back.
We're back.
We're going to talk about butter, prints, and molds. So in the 18th and the 19th century, the dairy farmers used these to mark their butter. Kind of like a trademark, say if you go into the store and you like Land O'Lakes, you like it,
Yeah.
and you know what that looks like. It was a way to identify their own butter, which became even more important when they weren't selling right at the farm, they were going to the open markets. So if somebody liked their particular brand of butter or the quality of their butter, they could identify it by its decoration.
Okay, that's fascinating.
Isn't that cool?
Yes.
So let's see what else.
And to find these like that, they are still around. That's amazing.
I know. So you will see, I'll take some of them out. So I like to display all my butter pats here. And we actually will use, butter presses. If we want to do something fancy with our butter for the holiday, you could actually, make little butter pats if you wanted to. But I guess I would just use the little ones, right?
Oh, yeah.
See, here's a little tiny one.
Oh, my goodness.
So I guess you would put the butter in here, press it down, and then pop it out.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. So a lot of cool designs.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And there's so many of them. So you're like, I guess if you wanted to identify a particular farmer's butter, you would really need to know what his stamp looked like.
Right.
And there's so many of them.
Wow.
Here's a wheat one. So a lot of them are either like this or this.
Oh, interesting. Oh, yeah.
And I guess you would fill it up. I don't know how easy it is actually, if there's some trick so the butter doesn't stick. I'm sure
there must be.
There must have been, but
Right.
I don't know what the trick is. So then we have the little ones. So some of the thing, acorns, you see wheat, acorns and wheat, a lot of wheat. Actually, I have quite a few wheat ones of different designs. Then I have these larger ones here.
This is something you're not going to find out at a museum, a living history museum.
Well, I think these were kind of a common object.
Were they?
I think so. This is a really beautiful one.
Gorgeous.
And then look at the nice crack it has on it.
Beautiful.
Again, I don't mind the cracks because that's a sure sign of the age.
Right.
It will crack. So I've got these sort of just arranged here because I didn't have enough room up there.
I love how you displayed them.
And they're just so fun.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And you can move them all around. And while we're talking about butter presses, let's look at some butter churns.
Okay.
So this is a butter churn. Now, I don't know that this was the original cover. I think it would have had some sort of a cover like this with a plunger type of thing.
Right.
Or maybe it had two pieces, the plunger thing and maybe this.
To store it.
Yeah. It fit, that's how I bought it.
Wow.
But this one, this is actually a stoneware one.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
So this is the cover.
Yep.
And this would have been, I guess, the plunger you want to call it for when they did the churning of the butter.
Right.
A lot of work.
That would be a lot of work.
But look at how beautiful.
That's gorgeous.
How beautiful it is.
That is gorgeous.
So usually you'll find the wooden ones are more common.
Okay.
These are a little bit harder to find. Again, don't know if this is original to it.
Right.
It fits.
Right.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
Okay, I feel like I saw one of them the other day, a stoneware butter churn.
You might have seen one at Primitive Goods.
Maybe.
Upstairs.
Oh, maybe I did.
It's a big one.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And I got to show you two more churns. So I don't know, were the wooden ones first and the stoneware about the same time period, but then you have this one over here.
Start again now.
So here's another butter churn.
Uh-huh.
And I just took the cover off so I could put the turkey down. But again, I think these are from the 1900s.
Okay.
I think these are a little bit newer than the other two.
Right.
And then I think around the same time, maybe, was this is also a butter churn.
Oh.
So this is a 1 quart. And they came in larger. They also came larger. But all different types of butter churn.
They worked so hard for their food.
They did. Oh, man.
Man, I mean, it would take them half a day to make butter, maybe.
That's all they did.
Yeah.
Keep the fire. Cook food. Plant food. Make candles.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm exhausted.
Well, I've been trying to keep a fire going, and it's exhausting.
Well,
you know?
I only have to push a button now, which is great. But you know what? If they could have got any kind of utensils to make their work easier, they would have done it.
That's true.
Just like we do today.
That's true.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
So you end up having like a mixture if you want to authenticate your house, you still have a time period because you can't get rid of the old.
Yeah.
But then when new, better things come out to make your life easier, you want to get those as well.
That's a hard thing. I was thinking of that when I was thinking of you have your redware and then you have your stoneware and you're starting to span different centuries with your collections.
But again, you don't just throw it away because you get something new.
Right.
New and better.
Right.
You know?
So how do you envision, do you envision your home being a certain date?
For me, yes. I want to say late 17, early 1800s.
Okay.
Like 8 to 1830.
Right.
You know, obviously I have some things that are from the 1700s, but more probably from the early 1800s. Okay. That's a time period that I like.
Okay.
But you can make it, you know, if you love like mid-century modern or you love the 40s, then again, you're still going to have that mix of things, maybe from early 1900s to mid, because you're not going to probably throw them away because they're useful.
Yeah.
And you just wouldn't do that. So.
Well, I've been thinking about that with the pictures that I've been making, the pilgrim ones, right?
Yep.
Now, even if they go in my home, which would have been built in 1780, you still would have had your ancestors, so those would be prized possessions.
And they would have been prized possessions because to have someone come and paint a portrait probably was a little bit of money.
Yes.
And that was the only, it wasn't like people had cameras.
No.
And you could take pictures, so you wanted to keep that likeness.
Right. And maybe you had the money when you were over in the old country, but when you came to America, maybe you didn't have that much money.
Because they couldn't obviously get a lot of things that they could get in England. Mm-hmm. So they would have, a lot of things were imported.
Right.
Until they found a way here, or they were able to make them, or England allowed them to make them, because sometimes they didn't allow them.
Right.
They had to be imported.
Right.
You know, but America, we had so many wonderful resources. Obviously, the clay, so the pottery, the redware. I don't think was made here. Yes, it was made here. That was the first American pottery. But again, if you look at redware, it's fragile and it chips. Now the stoneware, a lot harder, a lot more impervious to the liquids leaking out. And so even now, I mean, you look at them and there's a crack here and there, but I mean, they're still, you probably still use them.
You have stoneware up there too?
Oh yeah, I do. The thing is, I have so much everywhere that it's hard to remember where it all is, and they're in different rooms too. So,
I love it.
Yeah. While we were here, I kind of wanted to talk about Treen, because I love Treen. Treen means tree made from wood. Wood was very plentiful in the Americas. So I did find an interesting thing about Treen. Treen is not made for huge object. It's usually a smaller object that could be carved out of a single piece of wood.
Okay.
Like, that's a single piece of wood.
Okay.
Small things, little bowls, mashers. These are, I don't know if this is one piece. Could be. but maybe not. But I'm pretty sure this is one piece. This is some sort of an herb. I think it's for herbs, but it's so beautiful. I don't even care that I don't know what it's exactly for. But you see the beautiful scribing.
Yeah.
And so these are the things that are treen. Again, they're small things that are made out of one piece of wood. And this might have gone on a lathe because do you see the hole on the?
Yes.
Yes. So this is all Treenware, and I know I've mentioned this before that when you first start collecting, you're not necessarily drawn to it.
Mm-hmm.
But as you read more and you see more, you go to the museums, you see those things, then you do become more drawn to them.
Well, that's happening just watching you speak about them. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. So I don't know. I did remember what this was for. But again, it's a beautifully shaped, turned one piece. It has these little, maybe it was for spices.
Oh, wow.
I think it was for spices.
Cool.
But Treenware is just so cool. So many different shapes.
They're beautiful.
So now I want to talk about Peesware, which I think this is a piece of Peesware. Peesware is normally maple. And the guy's name, I have to get it over here. Okay, so, okay, it's not on this one. Let me get my other sheet of paper. This guy's name is David Mills Pease. He was born in 1815. He moved to Ohio in 1840 and then started his business there in 1850. It's not marked, but I think it's a piece of Peesware. He's known for making these bulbous shapes with the lids. So maybe like this. This could be a piece of Peesware, and they're usually maple. Yeah. You can see a little bit of difference from Treen, you know. Yeah. And you know that rhyme goes peas porridge hot, peas porridge cold,
yes.
Peas porridge in the pot. 9 days old. I think this is the peas pot.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
So, but again, beautiful. Just
wow.
I mean, and it's going to have cracks.
Sure.
Because that's what wood does.
Yeah.
And I might have a couple of more of the, and I don't know that the Peesware is actually marked, but it usually is this nice shape. Let me run over here real quick, and I might have a couple of more. Again, don't know if it's Peesware, but I wanted to show you these sweet little cups.
Oh, yeah. Oh my goodness. Sure.
What they were used for, I don't know. They were obviously turned on a lathe. I mean, these things were on a lathe.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't know, there's something about it that just speaks to me. Literally, I go into the store and it's like, why?
You hear them.
I bet you do too.
I will now.
So again, more Treen, and again, these are just everyday, butter paddles or paddles.
Right.
Made out of one piece of wood.
Beautiful.
Just everyday objects that are, to me, there's just so much beauty in them.
Yes.
I'm sure they didn't necessarily think that, but in this day and age, the quality is just amazing.
Right.
And again, this is another piece of Treen. This is a big piece of Treen. But Treen does not refer to any kind of furniture. It's small objects.
Okay.
One piece.
How do you spell Treen?
Treen.
Okay.
Another little Treen bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And again,
something like that.
Remember, they would have started out with Treen.
Right.
Then they went to Redware.
Okay.
Then they went to pewter. And then obviously, as they became more affluent, they would use, I don't want to say porcelain, but you know, like china, but it's not called china. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And obviously the transferware, those kind, but it started with the lowly Treen, which is so beautiful.
I got a Treen. I have a Treen plate that I got the other day, and I love it. And I put some of Judy Condon's pears in them, the wax pear. It just sits there on my table in my tavern.
They're so simple. In fact, I have a Burl bowl, which I want to show you.
Okay.
You have a Burl bowl
I have a Burl bowl.
So I think these are both Burl. But we'll talk about that in a minute. So this is a Burl.
Yes.
With a fabulous repair.
Ooh.
I mean, how loved was this thing?
Oh my goodness.
Look at it. Oh. So this is the piece of the that comes out of the tree, the burl. It's like a big lump.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's there's usually a fungus or maybe some undeveloped buds that are on the tree, and it protects itself. It grows over, and so it's all gnarly and thick.
Right.
And then you can get these fabulous bowls.
Wow. Oh, so wonderful.
And because obviously the burl isn't something that you see all the time.
Right.
They're kind of expensive.
Yes.
They can be.
They can be. They can be.
Yes.
I know.
This I got from a friend of mine that I had a permanent layaway with for many, many years. So I would just keep going in and she'd go, I'll add that to your layaway.
Oh my.
But again, I was so glad that I got this, especially with the repair. Feel how smooth the repairs are. I mean, you would think it's
so
iron.
worn over time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's got some heft too.
Do you think Burl bowls were also used during the Treen time?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the trees were so plentiful.
Right.
And I don't know how they would have discovered that this made such a nice thick bowl.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, it's a one piece.
Yes.
It's a one piece
yes.
thing. And I want to say this, I'm not going to dump it out, but no, I don't know. Maybe that's Treen. I don't think it's a burl. You can usually tell the burl, no problem.
Yeah.
Because it just has all these gnarly things.
Yeah.
Just like if you saw one on a tree now,
right.
you go, oh, bowl.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's
wow.
That's it for the, let me see, tree. I mean, there are so many other wood things here. So I guess we'll just talk about those too.
Okay.
So I'm just going to get on the floor here.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that if I had a buttery, this piece, which is a dry sink, would go in there. Okay. Now this, I think, has a hole in it somewhere. So they probably did wash out utensils or bowls or whatever.
Interesting.
And it has a little drawer. What I love about this piece is obviously the mustard and this blue.
Yeah, the blue. I know.
Love it.
That blue.
So, so beautiful.
Yeah.
Now in here, what I've done, once a year when I dust all this, I just shake my head because I'm like, really? How many of these do you need to have? But then I can't part with them. So these are grains for measuring. I'm assuming they measured grain with it.
Oh, okay.
And I think some of them are marked with...
Yeah, that one. I see a marking.
This is like Fry and Son, Wilton, New Hampshire.
Okay.
And let me just pull out a couple of them. These just happen to be nailed. And I think these were a set. These three. And I don't know, I'm sure it was a certain amount when they were measuring the grain, say they measured it and then that was a certain price. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But I guess you could also use them to store grains and things in your buttery.
Sure.
And I'm thinking all this, well, maybe not with all the butter molds, but all this kind of stuff would have been in a buttery. So I'm just going to pull out a couple
This is
more.
kind of your buttery.
Yeah, it's kind of. But if I had another house, I'd have to build a buttery.
You'd have to build a buttery.
Or I'd have to get a closet, like if you had a nice big closet, you know. So these are just some more wood measures. when I was reading, it says the thicker ones tend to be older and the thinner ones are a little bit newer.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, so then we have these pantry boxes. Now this is kind of a step up
Oh,
because they have handles.
Yes.
Okay. These happen to be nailed. Sometimes you'll see them, I think they're called finger laps, like the Shakers did, you know.
Yep.
These happen to be nailed,
Okay.
but it has a wonderful cover, a nice wooden handle.
Wow.
Look at the patina inside.
Yeah.
It smells good too.
Oh, that's great.
Then, oh, I have another one, and this is called a bale handle pantry box.
Okay.
My husband's just coming in the door.
Hello, Wes.
And then this one, this is a bale handle, they call it,
Oh, yeah.
with a cover. So these are a little bit pricier, you know, than those. So this is a step up. Once you've collected all these in the world, then you go to the next one. So I have some other Redware pieces which I'll show you quickly, but I wanted to show you a pantry box with some paint on it.
Oh, yeah.
So I got my jingle bells in here.
Wow.
So a little bit of paint, and again, this is just nail, but I think I do have some that have the finger joints. Let me see. This is another blue one. Now, I don't know, no, this doesn't have a, I don't know that this paint is old. Well, I think it's old, but maybe not original. I don't know. But then the handle's painted too, but I just really like the color.
Yeah. Oh, really?
And this would have had a cover. Blue. Another blue. This would have had a cover, but it was missing.
Okay.
I do have, okay, so I do have some green ones. So these are just pantry boxes. Again, these all happen to be nailed.
Right.
But again, these would have been to store. They needed a lot of storage.
Right.
So whether they needed this amount of things, I don't know. I don't know how much they would have really had. But again, this one, this is a nice deep, similar blue to this.
Yes, it is.
So these, again, anything that's painted with original paint is more money, and they're harder to find.
Right. Wow.
What else do I have? Let's see. Oh, I got another one, and I do have a green one. It's kind of beat up, but it's really beat up. But it's sort of like a light greenish. And I think it looks original. A bale handle. It's funny, it looks like the handle's the same color.
It does. Oh, wow.
And that's dark inside,
Yeah.
so who knows? But I think they would have had these kinds of items in a buttery. They needed to store their foods.
Right.
Again, there was no refrigeration, but maybe the houses were cold too. So
Yeah. That's true.
So that's in this cabinet. Also, I do have some Redware, of course. This particular tiny little mold
Oh, my.
has this black, which is manganese. A lot of times they use manganese to decorate.
Huh.
I guess it's a little pudding,
Oh,
pudding
really?
mold.
Huh.
I'm guessing. That looks kind of like a pudding mold, don't you think?
Well,
Again, I'm guessing that this is Redware with that darker
right.
glaze. I don't know if it's an Albany glaze or if it's the manganese. I don't really know. And then I have a couple more of these because when you're making pudding. So I have,
Oh, wow.
isn't that great? A
Yeah.
Redware one.
Oh, isn't that something?
And then a Yellowware.
Wow.
So they had Redware, they had Yellowware at the same time, they had Treen,
Yeah.
all these wonderful things.
Wow.
So I am just going to set these back, and then I think we'll move on and talk about those things.
Okay, and we'll do that in the next video.
Yes, we will.
So thank you, Alice. We'll see
You're
you
welcome.
soon.